Today I wanted to share my favourite places to hike or walking trails near Brisbane, plus a few more beyond the city. These are all based on enjoying the views, a unique trait that makes it exciting, or maybe even waterfalls, including the UNESCO areas of the Gold Coast and the national parks on the Sunshine Coast hinterland. I'm Chris, the Aquarius Traveller, and I've been hiking in the region for more than 20 years. So whether you're a seasoned hiker or just getting your feet wet in the outdoors, Brisbane and southeast Queensland offers plenty of options to get you out and explore. But note, if you need help finding them, I'll link my blog in the description, which has a specially pinned map for directions. So time to get on your hiking boots and start exploring. One of the best things to do at Mount Coot-tha is try one of the 50 different hikes to suit all levels. These vary from short hikes at a few hundred metres to longer hikes and joining several trails together, even novice options to advanced ones that challenge your limits. Personally, if you're after the views across Brisbane City, then you can't miss the Summit Track, which starts from the JC Slaughter Falls car park and ends at the gorgeous lookout point over the city. I've done this one over 200 times and the views can change throughout the year. The Arbour Walkway is about 1 kilometre long, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for beauty and originality. It's a scenic walking path in South Bank and a gateway to many of the inner city's most popular tourist hotspots and attractions. This ranges from the botanic delights, man-made beaches, foodie hotspots to modern music venues. Visits throughout the year can change the walkway dramatically, especially with events and nightly festivals. And views along the way are captivating with either fairy lights, Japanese lanterns, or seasonal flowers. The Brisbane City walking loops stop and start at various points throughout the city. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are 14 bridges crossing the river, and at least 9 of them are relatively close to the CBD. These loops allow you to pick and choose the length and time of your path and explore the different parts of the CBD. This includes the Brisbane City, Kangaroo Point, New Farm, South Brisbane, and the South Bank precinct. The experience varies depending on the direction taking, so it feels like a new journey every single time. You can even combine it with the City Cat public ferry transport or even the free Kitty Cat line. Not a regular height that everyone would choose and is often used for views or even a cheap way to get you from the north side to the south side. The Gateway Bridge hiking trail is only a small 5-kilometre return walk, or you can find a lot of people riding their bikes. You can view boats or jet skis travelling along the river, container carrying ships being unloaded, or watch the sunrise over the water in the mornings. You get glass windows to look through, plus water stations and resting points along the way. The entrance point on the north side is at Laverick Avenue in Eagle Farm. From the south side, you'll need to go to the Queensport Rocks Park in Murarrie. Have you ever walked to an island? Well, this is a unique experience that can be done getting to King Island just off the coast of Wellington Point. It's only a very short 2-kilometre return hike, and most of the locals use it for their daily exercise, weekend hangouts, or somewhere to walk the dog. What's interesting though is that you can only do this walk at low tide. This means low tide can bring some exploration for the kids with crabs in the mangroves or finding the local birds on the island itself. Mount Gravatt Outlook Reserve is very similar to Mount Coot-tha, but on the different side of the city. It's home to koalas, echidnas, gliders, and more than 75 species of birds. This includes the Toohey Forest Park, which offers heaps of walking tracks, with 2 of my favourites being the Nathan Ridge Track at 2.5 kilometres and the Summit Track at 1.2 kilometres. The views at the lookout are good, but I often find a bit restrictive with trees, but you can always head up there for a coffee and a snack at the cafe. The Boondall Wetlands covers about 1,500 hectares of tidal flats, mangroves, salt marshes, Maluka wetlands and grasslands. Getting around is easy with heaps of boardwalks and bitumen pathways that guide you through the diverse ecosystem. Some of the trails are both for bike and walking, so just be on the lookout. There's also an information centre located at the main entrance near the entertainment centre. I have used the bikeways a lot too, but mosquitoes can get pretty bad in certain weather conditions, so apply repellent before you go. Something very unique is when the water turns a light pink shade. This is due to a combination of algae and bacteria that thrive in salty conditions. Kangaroo Point Cliffs is a remarkable spot overlooking the Brisbane River. Through its rocky, steep cliffs, many locals and tourists use the stairs to exercise or just admire the views while walking the streets. The bottom of the cliffs is also an option, and walking along the water's edge. Find the many water dragons and other birds as you walk from Captain Burke Park all the way to South Brisbane, or using it in conjunction with the bridges across the river mentioned before. Get a little bit further out of the city and venture to Redcliffe and walks along their foreshore and esplanade. This stretches from Woody Point all the way to Scarborough and out on one of the jetties. Along with the fantastic views and plenty of activities in the area, you can walk up to 10 kilometres, taking in sights like the shops, cafes and other cool swimming spots at the Settlement Cove Lagoon. As we start to get further out of the city, it's worth checking out Bribie Island. You can stroll the waterfront of Plymouth Stone Passage or use the Bribie Island Bridge to meander back and forth from the mainland. Along the way, keep your eyes peeled and you'll spot jet skis and boats from all directions. On the island itself, you'll find crystal clear waters begging for a dip on those hot summer days, or restaurants perfect for relaxing after a big day out in the sun. My favourite times of day is at sunrise or sunset, and use the daytime for swimming at the beach. Nestled in the heart of the Lamington National Park, Moran Falls stands as an impressive height of 80 metres with a single majestic drop. The track is 3.7 kilometres return, offering hikers a moderate Grade 4 challenge. It takes approximately 1.5 hours, allowing ample time to soak in the lush surroundings of the rainforest, plus you have different trails that go to the lookout points and allow you to step onto the falls itself. Conveniently, you can park at the O'Reilly's Rainforest Retreat with a standard vehicle and pass by the Health Spa along the way. Elabana Falls is another favourite of mine, but it's a little more difficult to get to. It's also located in the heart of the Lamington National Park, and a return walk covers a distance of about 7.6 kilometres and typically takes about 2 to 3 hours to complete. If you're starting out first thing in the morning, I suggest watching out for the spiderwebs crossing the track. These can often catch you by surprise, but also watch out for the famous Lamington lobster. Apart from that, the hike there is mostly downhill, with the return that'll get your heart pumping. The falls are not the easiest to access, having to rock hop over boulders, but definitely worth it for the views and serene surroundings. Did you know that the Gondwana rainforest consists of the first treetop walk in Australia? This gives you another reason to visit the Lamington National Park. The treetop or Buyong walk is a shorter and more family-friendly trail that starts from O'Reilly's Rainforest Retreat and accommodation. You embark on a 60-metre long suspension bridge, climb towers to the tops of the trees and admire the rainforest flora and wildlife from above. Springbrook National Park is still a part of the UNESCO Gondwana Region, but there's no better way to experience the park than by hiking around the Natural Bridge waterfall. The track passes through subtropical and temperate rainforests, giving visitors a glimpse at all the lush vegetation. As you make your way along the 1 kilometre loop track, you'll stop to view the falls from above and below. One added benefit of this cave is staying after dark and find thousands of tiny little glowworms. The Purlingbrook Falls hiking trail is a 4 kilometre loop that takes you through more lush rainforest of the Springbrook National Park. When the weather has been especially wet or the temperature rises during summer, the falls become a fantastic sight as water rushes over the cliff into a long drop. Any time of year is excellent for this hike, but come prepared with extra water and supplies if you're visiting in the summer, as it can get quite hot. The Curtis Falls track in Mount Tamborine National Park has the most amazing sounds I've ever heard on a southeast Queensland trail. This 1.1 kilometre return track is Grade 3, offering gentle yet engaging walk through the wet eucalypt forest. It features gum trees, striking basalt columns and a serene rock pool at the end with Curtis Falls. But no, this waterfall isn't for swimming. Along the way, visitors might encounter an array of wildlife including fish, eels, basking turtles, and even the enchanting glowworms if you're around in the evening. My biggest tip would to arrive as early as possible to secure parking, as this area can get really crowded. The Burleigh Heads National Park is situated in the southern Gold Coast area. The Headland Walk is 2.3 kilometre loop track that promises an exhilarating journey through ancient eucalypt forests. It's a moderate difficulty suitable for most fitness levels with well-maintained path, some inclines and a series of steps. One of my favourite highlights is the walk to Tumgan Lookout, which offers stunning panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. You can see Tallabudra Creek from here and even whales breaching in the distance from June to November. The Gorge Walk is located on North Stradbroke Island and is one of the most exciting walks you'll experience there. It's 1.2-kilometre track through gorges, bushland and topped off with coastal headland views. This leisurely paced walk allows plenty of time to enjoy the stunning scenery, the wildlife, and is conveniently built with an easy boardwalk path. Plus, it's definitely worth completing from June to October with the added benefit of whale watching and seeing them breach in the distance. The Kondalilla National Park is alive with native animals including wallabies, platypi, goannas, and many different species of frogs and birds. You can try the 4.7-kilometre full hike and the swimming hole, which will see you exploring winding wooden pathways and towering trees. What's great about this hike is you can enjoy a quick dip in the freshwater rock pools of Skene Creek, which I love for cooling down on a hot summer's day. Above all, being family friendly with some rock stairs and a formed path. If you want the ultimate views over the Sunshine Coast, then you can't pass up the summit hike at Mount Nung Nung. This would have to be one of my personal favourites for views and hugely popular with the locals for weekly exercise. The track itself is only 2.8 kilometres return and takes about 1.5 hours to complete. The path is nicely formed but does have a lot of rocky stairs and it's perfect heart starter with increased elevation. The Mount Beerburrum summit hike in the Sunshine Coast hinterland is an exciting and challenging adventure. I can't stress the word challenging enough, as the constant incline can turn a few people away. However, the scenic beauty of the area from the Fire Lookout platform combined with the very steep and heart-pumping terrain makes it very rewarding. Although the one-way track is 3.5 kilometres, you can complete it in about 1.5 hours, and I always find it better first thing in the morning. The entire Noosa Coastal Walk is impressive, but you can single out sections for shorter walks like visiting Tea Tree Bay Beach, the lookout point to see the dolphins, Hell's Gate, Alexandra Bay, or finding the Noosa Fairy Pools. These can all range from 30 minutes to a couple of hours, and some hikers even walk to the end at Sunshine Beach to catch a bus back to where they started. However, keep in mind if you want to swim in the rock pools, you need to visit around low tide. Apart from that, it has to be one of the best coastal trails in the area. One of the most popular treks on the Sunshine Coast is Mount Coolum Summit Track, and one of the more recent ones that Matt and I completed. It's renowned for its challenging climb to the summit, but well worth it for the beachside views. The track itself is 1.6 kilometre return hike that usually takes about 1.5 hours to complete depending on your pace. While the distance may seem short, the trail's steep ascent makes it a moderately difficult trek suitable for hikers with a good level of fitness. Get in early and complete it before the day heats up too much, but this is also a busy time and much harder for parking. Olympus Falls is one of my favourite swimming spots, but also harder to get to needing a four-wheel drive vehicle. It's about a 3-kilometre return walk and relatively easy that we even completed it with thongs or slip-on shoes. Walk beneath the towering canopies of ancient trees and feeling the cool, damp air filled with the scent of earth and foliage. The trail leads you to a couple of rock pools where water cascades down the rock faces, perfect for a refreshing pause and a brilliant day trip from the city. The Wild Horse Mountain Lookout is a must-visit nestled among the tall pine trees between Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast. The trail is 1.4 kilometres return journey, taking approximately 30 minutes to complete. The highlight of this walking trail is seeing the volcanic Glasshouse Mountains in the distance. The path is well maintained and clearly marked, ensuring a pleasant experience. As you reach the summit, you'll be greeted with a stunning 360-degree views, which is ideal around sunset with the light disappearing behind the mountains. Located in Queensland's Main Range National Park, the Queen Mary Falls is one of my favourite waterfalls in Queensland. The top section is easy to follow, short and suitable for almost everyone. Within minutes, you're gifted with lookout points and the raging waterfall sounds, and a mist covering the entire valley. The entire 2-kilometre loop hike meanders down into the canyon below and the bottom of the waterfall. Summertime is especially great for a visit here, with fresh air and clear blue skies that really make the deep gorge stand out in a beautiful contrast. As we travel further west to a place called Stanthorpe, you're introduced to the granite-built region with hiking in the Girraween National Park. The first today is called the Pyramid Hike, which is another favourite of mine. This stunning 3.6-kilometre return trail includes a stretch taking you through some of the serene wilderness, climbing up and over huge boulders until you reach a massive granite peak. Yes, it's the pyramid. The last section is steep and definitely exercises your quads, but when you reach the top, the jaw-dropping views are well worth it, along with seeing the famous balancing rock. The Sphinx and Turtle Rock Track is also in the Girraween National Park, providing an exciting natural experience within a few kilometres of walking. Never in my life have I heard so many cicadas, and they were incredibly loud and mesmerising. The walk begins with a gradual ascent, which eventually leads you to some steep areas with stairs to climb. At the peak of Turtle Rock, if you climb up, you will inevitably be impressed by the expansive panorama of ancient volcanic mountains and valleys. Once you're all done with all these hiking trails in and around Brisbane, click here for my video on other things to do in Brisbane. Apart from that, thanks a bunch for watching today's edition, and I will see you for the next one.